Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it.
The JAMODI podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products.
You said something earlier about letting them choose the culture, and that I wrote it down and put a star next to it because that's not something that I hear quite a bit. And when I was a younger coach, I chose the culture that the players were going to have, and I forced it on them, and I said, you'll like it and you'll put it on your shirts and you'll believe in it, even though they had no ownership or they didn't create it at all. And I thought about, unfortunately, Coach, I haven't won a state championship. We haven't won a state championship. So I don't know what it feels like to come back the next week and start fresh after that. But I would imagine the bleed over or the kids just wanting, hey, we just did it. Let's do it again. And let's do it the same way. I would imagine that would be easy to fall in that trap. Where did you get the let them choose their culture from? And how soon did you start doing that?
A lot of places, like you said, you have to develop culture. It's not there. Brock, it was kind of there. They had the tradition. They never won. They never won a state championship, but they'd been there many times. They just couldn't get over the hump. But they had that tradition. That's a culture there. It really is. What we had to bring to that culture was defense and the little things. Blocking out, taking care of the ball, taking good shot. That's all we had to do. It was there. We just had to get the little things there, the things that will consistently make you win. You always have a chance to win if you do those things right. And so I really think that's the culture we brought to Brock that wasn't there. And I think the boys did the same thing. They won it the same year we did and never won it. And me and a guy named Jeff Bell, we both went in there and we were defensive coaches. And we just said, hey, you know what? That's what we're going to do. We're going to put our hats on the defense and blocking out. I'd lost some big games blocked out. At Coppersco, some really big games. And so that became kind of a mantra of mine. Our defensive philosophy is you don't let them have a shot in the paint. That means you can't pass it to them in there. You can't drive it in there and shoot it, and you can't get an offensive rebound. No, you can't do that 100%, but if you really can do that most of the time, force them outside shot cover and don't give them another one, you got a pretty good chance to win no matter how sorry you're on offense. So, you're always in the game.
What were you doing in practice to help build that? I just kind of thought about building a wall almost around the paint defensively. What were some of the things that you did to build that identity?
A lot of shell defense. Now, my defensive philosophy is a little shell defense. But my defensive philosophy, man-to-man, is a little different than others. We really don't play close up. We really shorten the gaps. Like if I'm one pass away, I'm called 50-50. I'm halfway to the ball, halfway to my girl. I still got a hand in the passing lane.
Yeah.
But I'm halfway there. So my gap is so much smaller that they really can't see that gap. And I also found out later that if they drive that gap and I'm already there, if they make that pass out, I'm already headed that way. I'm not going this way, then having to recover.
Yeah.
So we learned about sagging off, but still playing the passing lanes and tightening it up a little bit on the inside. And never giving a post girl a baseline dribble or anything. Always make them dribble through the middle and help from the top. It was simple things like that, Matt, that really got us going. And of course, and I don't know if I'm avoiding the question, but of course, what would happen is, our defense was good. And at Argyle, we had 6-footers out there to guard you. We were starting 4 6-footers, so we really could dominate you. They were athletic kids. We all played college. So they would get into a run the flex, baby. And they would run the flex till the cows came home. And we'd go into the game 6-4 in the first quarter against people we were a lot better than because they would just run us down. So we had to develop something else. And I found years ago, I went to a 2-2-1 half court trap. Nobody runs it, I know, but me. And I ran it because I ran a 2-2-1 full court press. And I only knew the rules of that. So I just backed us up into that half court trap. And it's won a lot of games for me. And bottom line with the half court trap is, there's no plays you can run. You got to know how to play basketball. You got to know where the ball goes next, and you got to be able to do it under pressure, and it's really tough to play against. So a good coaching team will kill it. A lot of teams can. So you just got to roll the dice,
Yeah.
I'm not sit there and let them run a flex or a continuity offense for 5 minutes while we just run our legs off, and that's smart for them to do that. Not getting
Yeah.
wrong, the smart technique. You can't let that happen. So you've got to be able to be ready for that. That's one adjustment you got to be able to make.
You said half court, 2-2-1, or 3/4 court.
It can be. I could pick up at half court at the center line, 5 feet back, or at the top of the key. We changed it a lot to just
Nice.
guy. We can make it look like a man-to-man sometimes, and just on the first pass jump into it. But that that was not something that was one of our normal thing. We might do that 2 minutes a game. If it was a good game, we might do it one time a whole game, because I mean, if I remember right, when we played at Rock and Argo, we didn't play many sorry teams, so we didn't have a chance to just try out stuff. We were pretty much we used it. We were trying to use it to win.
Guys, we're gonna practice something today, and you lose by 20. That's not good. That's not good.
That won't fit well going home either. So.
That's right. Do you mind sharing just a couple of the rules of your 2-2-1? I'm super interested in that. And if the shot clock does ever come to UIL or TAPS, I think something like that even becomes more important, because you can take 8 to 15 seconds of that clock away. When they try to reset, it takes another 5 to 10. And then by the time they're into their action, there's 8 seconds left in the clock. So, but would love to hear your rules if you don't mind.
Well, one of the rules is the only dribble that we'll trap is one that comes across. Our 2 front girls will dribble the trap. Other than that, we don't. If the ball's passed to the wing, we pressure the wing real hard and force her to dribble. We don't give her an option to shoot. We make her dribble the ball, and we'll trap from the baseline or trap from the top. And when we do that,
So whatever direction she attacks, either the top comes down or the bottom comes up.
Let's say she has the ball at the wing.
Yep.
So our elbow girl is covering her. Our baseline girl on ball side is front in the post, so we can't go in there, and we got backside covered by the backside. So she drives baseline. When she drives baseline, our baseline girl who's covering the front will come out, and they will trap her. Now, what she's going to do is throw the ball to the wide open post that we just left, but our backside girl will come across our backside post.
Yep.
Will come across and take that. And that's the play. That's not what we might do. That's our play. As soon as that girl leaves the trap, we're over there, ready to take that pass.
Yeah.
Not wait to see if they throw it. That's our play. We're there. We're making that play. We gamble. And if we pick it up, well, we maintain the trap, stay on the front of the post, make our top guard take the wing pass away, and kind of get them in the corner stuck. And if they dribble to the middle off that wing, we'll trap with that front girl and try to take the middle pass. One of the main things we try to do, one of the craziest things, is when the ball goes high post, but we don't want that to do. That really hurts a half-court traps when you get the ball high post. So when it does, we're going to bring 4 girls on it, and we're going to take 1 girl on the basket. We're just going to around. We're just going to maul her and leave
high hands, dig, make her kick it out, and then what are you in after the trap?
Ball, we're going to come back and cover it. It's a dangerous play, but all the years we run, it's the only play I see we can do out of it. So I just killed it.
What did you come out of after that? Were you just back into man?
We stayed in it. No matter what, we stayed in it. And we had to work on that a lot, resetting. But they'll get it. Once you know the rule, where you're supposed to be, it's all about where the position of the ball, where it's at.
So if they pass and they hold, you're holding. The moment that they put it down.
Yep. Whichever way they go, we're trapping it and rotating.
See, that's different. That's different because I've tried some continuous, some 3/4 quarter, half court zones where there is a continuous trap. It doesn't matter. Pass goes to come. And I always felt like, man, we're working a lot harder than they are to try to do this. But I like the idea of pass. We haven't really moved as we're kind of just matched up with those people. Somebody tries to be aggressive, we run after it. I like that.
If you trap the pass, like we trap the pass to the wing, like I do, if you're trapping the ball, somebody's wide open. And, play halfway and try to play both passes. That's what you got to do. But if you ever get beat on that pass out of the trap, they'll take it right to the middle. And man, you're hurt. They're going to hit you backside and you're hurt, and so I don't know. And I use it. I tell you, I've won some really big games with that. And one thing it'll do is, besides stealing the ball, getting a steal every once in a while, it really takes them out of looking to score. Really, if kids haven't really worked against it, they're just wanting to make the next pass. Okay, I got the ball. Here, where do I throw it to? Or what do I got to dribble. Nobody's open, so they dribble the ball. They trap. What are they going to do? It's all a matter of getting the ball around it. They're never trying to score. And that's a good thing sometimes, You get them out of that team that's just killing you on the inside, just coming down there and running that play. You can't stop them. Run that trap a couple of times, see if you can't get them out of the rhythm or something, it's just a change-up thing. Have all the confidence. We'll figure out some way to adjust to it. But, man, it's a really good little thing to run. You need some quick points maybe, or you're behind and you can make a comeback.
Coach, let me throw something out at you here. So we run a pressure 3-2, but a lot of times our 3-2, I can move my wings up to half court. My middle man will stay back a little bit, so it really looks more like a 2-1-2. And I've been thinking of making it more of a 3/4 court attack. So okay, yours is 2-2-1, but what if I took your back guy, moved him up towards the middle? He doesn't leave the middle. Like if the dribble comes across half court, he's not the one trapping. So it could still be the lower person in the box that comes to trap. The opposite guy would drop back and guard the basket just like that, but it would allow my middleman, who typically his rule is to follow the ball always. If the trap happened, he would be dropping towards that elbow that you said is like kind of exposed at times. Do you think that would work with the same rules of we're not trapping on passes, but when they put it down, either this way or top, like that's where the trap is happening? What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think that it all pretty much, I think even a 1-2-1-1, 2-2, it all boils down to the same thing about where you're trying to force the ball and where you're going to trap it at. I like the idea of a person in the middle, especially if it's a real athlete that can cover ground and can anticipate, and I've had some of those. And let your other kids do the trapping, the rotating, the covering, let that person be an animal in the middle. Good idea. And it's a good rotation out of that too. But that's what we would do. I said we went that 2-2-1 half-court trap out of a press. I mean, we used to run the press. When I was at Copper's Cove, we were very 5A. We were athletic, and we ran the 2-2 full-court press every game we played, and it was awesome. We would just force it down the sideline, trap it, rotate, or force it to the middle. It was just I loved it. And back then, actually, they had the girls' ball, I think. The boys' ball. So the kids couldn't throw the long pass. So, you really
all 5 of your girls on the side of half court.
Yeah, you really did. On whatever side it went to, the back to cut to the middle. You just pretty much scored out. You couldn't throw it. That skip pass was pretty tough to make then and all that.
I like that. I think that one rule right there, only trap dribblers. I think that's, Coach, what I maybe needed to hear. Maybe something that's been missing. So I appreciate that.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.